Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to video review for The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, Extended Edition. I'm going to have the link in the description down below for my Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition, and then when I eventually make it, the Return of the King Extended Edition reviews in the description down below. So, as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. Once again, with the furry, I feel like a lot of it is spoilers with this. Just understand that there are some large creatures that make an appearance rather notably. All right, so moving on to the good and the bad. If you've watched The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition, you probably have already made up your mind if you're going to continue, because this movie is another almost 4-hour movie, and then the next one is another almost 4-hour movie. So if you like the first one well enough to give this one a chance, I think that this one might be my favorite one. And the reason is because of the battles taking place in it. So the music in this is awesome, and everything else that I said about the Fellowship of the Ring applies here, because they're just really just one big, long movie. Even where they end, like, sure, they solve some things in the first one, but they definitely leave it for where you need the second one. And with this one, sure, they solve some things, but they haven't completed the quest that they need to for the third one. So they give you, like, that satisfaction feeling for some of the things that complete, but there is still a whole lot more to go on for. So yeah, so I'm probably just gonna jump right into some of the spoiler stuff. So spoiler alert. The thing that I liked about this movie was the battle for Helm's Deep, because when this first came out, again, CGI, really expensive, not all that common for massive sequences. And this, like, I got to see the special features on just the brand new technologies that they had to come up with to basically give the Uruk-hai 10,000 strong, or 10,000 plus strong army, like, guidance for what to do, while still giving their, like, a wide swath of parameters in order to carry out the battle. So really, I'm guessing that the software that they developed for this to give more variety to the hacky slashy battle things going on between individual tiny entities in a crowd, I want to say that that was probably used in many large scale battle sequences for several years after this movie came out. I don't know for sure, but I feel like it was, just because of not having seen it before this movie and then seeing it quite a number of times after. I feel like this is where the movie actually developed it, and then probably, contracted it out or sold the rights to it, or the software for it, for other things. But so that was really awesome. And then just the fact that you could keep straight in your brain each thing that was happening. You're like, okay, so here's the initial ladders, then here's the larger ladders, here's the things that are holding the ladders up, so you shoot those come down, and then you have the explosion sequence, and then you understand, like, the mapping for where everything was and how to keep it straight in your brain was very, very well done, so that you knew exactly what stage you were at, and, like, how far along in the battle you were, and who was winning, who wasn't, while still giving you our heroes having their individual portions. So I thought that battle sequence was awesome. I also did like the battle with the Knights of Rohan. And again, talking about that music, the Knights of Rohan, so the Rohan music is also one of the most recognizable pieces of music out there, just like the stuff for Gondor is. It's just, man, the music in this cannot get more of a thumbs up from me than it has, because it's so amazing. And, we get to see more of these characters, we get to see their capabilities, and I like that we got to see Gandalf's fight from, the depths of the thing, the mountain peak. How he got to the mountain peak doesn't matter, he did. And it was just awesome to see all of that, as well as the Ents, and how, they're just so unbelievably slow. But then finally, Merry, comes up with a clever thing of, like, hey, let's just go by there, because he knows that they're going to see something that will change their mind. And they do. And just, that is immediate. Like, oh, you just murdered this entire forest of, like, mostly sentient trees. Like, you should know better. Game on time. And just Sauron not appreciate that nature's going to have their way with you, man. So the fact that they were able to bring down that dam, and just all the funny sequences that they had, like the ant that was on fire and dipped his hair in, like all these little subtle details of how it just takes out Orthanc is just absolutely awesome, as well as the other battle going on there. Also, I didn't realize that Karl Urban was in this. Like, I know that he's Éomer, but like I didn't realize until I think the third movie that I was like, oh, that's Karl Urban. Oh, that's cool. Because I think of Karl Urban as like a leading man, not like a secondary, tertiary character a bit. You know what I mean? So it's neat that he went from that to being Karl Urban of the leading man thing. But I think probably the only thing that I really didn't like about this movie was Éowyn. I just found her so taxing. Like, her little girl crush was just so irritating because he has shown zero interest in you. There is zero chance for you. He could not have been more obvious of the, like, I am polite to you and I wish the best for you, but you and I are never gonna happen. I'm in love with an elf. Will be forever and always. Still am, even though she's gone. Like, you and I, not gonna happen. And just every minute she's on screen. I feel like it's especially in this one, but it doesn't get better in the third one. Spoiler alert for her not dying in this one. But like, it's so grating every time she's on screen with that. Of just like, really? Like, no, bitch, it tastes nasty, and you are annoying. The only part that I really liked her in for this one is when Wormtongue is showing his skills as Wormtongue by, like, she's grieving over her brother and, like, is utterly repulsed by this guy, and yet from just, like, this single conversation when he's just slithering into her ear with his words, is able to, like, make contact with her and, like, touch her face and, like, get that lean-in thing going on. Like, he got real close with her before she was like, oh, no, your words are poison, get the fuck back. So, you know, that was really more about Wormtongue than about her. So, yeah, but I did really enjoy this movie. I like the progress, that they made, and the fact that, Gollum, you know, this movie had I say full-on CGI, but, like, so, we all know that Andy Serkis, the voice actor and physical actor for Gollum, was, like, there in a green screen suit, and they pointed out that, like, one of the things where, like, when he's first introduced and he's, like, turning around and, like, trying to escape whatever, his foot catches a blanket and, like, swings it around with him, and they're like, yeah, see that? You might not have thought of that with the CGI, but having the actual actor there doing the things caught that. So now so he was just painted over basically with CGI. So the fact that, you know, they had him there doing those things is awesome. And then the fact that the CGI for Gollum still holds up in my opinion. Yes, there is better CGI out there, but the fact that this was one of the first times where you see, like, photorealistic skin on a humanoid creature thing for, like, massive amounts of time in this movie. Like, think about, I don't know, The Avengers or other movies in the first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How much on-screen time did the Hulk actually get? Like, outside of the Hulk, like, the Hulk movie with Edward Norton. And even that, he didn't make a whole lot of appearances. But, like, you didn't see the Hulk a whole lot, because having a humanoid realistic person is so hard to do, because you don't want to get that uncanny valley. You know, it's not like the Chitauri you can show on a whole bunch more, because they're grotesque and they're not supposed to have a human face. But, like, the Hulk is supposed to have a human face, Gollum is supposed to have essentially a human face, and, like, skin that has all those properties, and they nailed it, and he is on screen for so long. And just Andy Serkis, and I'm sure that there must have been more of, like, schizophrenic type people or multiple personality people, like, talking to themselves sequences in cinema prior to this, but I still feel like this was the seminal moment of showing that on screen in a phenomenal way, with how they showed him talking to himself and how they slowly went, like, they established that, like, he is just talking with himself, but as they slowly get further and further into the conversation where he is just straight up having this conversation with himself, and they have the different camera angles basically, even though he is just talking with himself, and then they reestablish, like, yep, nope, it's still just him, like that. So how they filmed it was awesome, and then the fact that I think Andy Serkis, like, may or may not have been one take, I don't know, but the fact that he was doing that, like, with himself, just boom, 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 was just awesome. So props to him. Sam and Frodo, like, all the actors are awesome. It's great to see Faramir get his introduction of, like, you know, man, he has such a tragic story. But it also helps establish even more so how amazing Boromir was, to highlight even more so the fact that his utter, like, the fall that he had from getting utterly entranced by the ring just is that much more powerful, to show how powerful that ring is. Where, like, this hero of Gondor was just immediately taken by the ring, which again highlights the inner strength, the fortitude of these hobbits to be able to resist for so long. Even though, man, it's getting hard on Frodo. So yeah, I think that the Helm's Deep battle was probably the reason this one was my favorite, because it's the first time I saw that. I thought it was just the right length of time. They had the right amount of close-ups with the good crowd sequences. Yeah, the third movie has bigger battles, but I think that this movie is the one that nailed it perfectly. And then with the different themes and everything else, and then the catharsis of Saruman getting killed. But I will say that on the one hand, I liked that in this movie we got to the extended edition. We got to see how Saruman dies, which he gets stabbed by Wormtongue. But at the same time, how it was actually pulled off, I don't know, because they're like, I have secrets, but I won't tell you if you leave me alone. And then they're like, come on down, Wormtongue. And then the guy who has literally everybody else that has worked for him is dead. He's still, like, treating Wormtongue like, you cur, get away from me. Like, bro, you should not be surprised when you get stabbed. And then how that, like, this all super powerful wizard, that stab is what does him in. Well, I mean, and, the giant wheel thing, spear protruding thing through his chest, I'm sure did him in, but just that being the thing. Yeah. So Aragorn was awesome in this. Bunch of quotable things. It's cool seeing their skills. Also, how Viggo Mortensen broke his foot kicking the helmet and was like, and just stuck with it. Everybody hopefully knows that story. That was awesome. So just so many awesome things happen in this movie, and be able to see all that. It holds up today. The vistas, everything else. Basically, the only thing that doesn't hold up is fucking Eowyn and her annoying, stupid girl crush. But everything else, just absolutely awesome. And I like the level of magic that Gandalf has. Like, you can tell that he's more powerful, and, he depends on his staff, and then this, like, whole thing with the King of Rohan, and just that sequence to go from, like, that, like, decrepit, old, like, crusty white guy to, like, just that sequence where you get to see him just transform. His beard goes way better. Just to watch that in real time. I know that they did that through, like, several makeup sequences and stitching together. Like, I saw how they did it in the special features, but to see it just on screen every time, I'm just like, that is amazing. I love that. Every time I see that, I'm like, that is phenomenal. It's so crazy how they're able to pull that off. But that's the type of magic that I like, and how the level of magic that Gandalf has shown. It's not like Sorcerer Supreme style. I like how they portray his magic in this, which was very much intentional by Peter Jackson. Okay, so that's all I have for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you stick around for the next one. But thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.